right. Hey, welcome everybody. It's Saturday, which means it's another Saturday with Sean talking about tabletop RPGs, interacting with the chat, getting updates on what's happened in the last week, maybe 2 weeks, catching you up on Gamehole Con that I attended last weekend. It's good times. So we'll wait for people to trickle into the chat, sit back, grab a drink if you haven't already, whether it be coffee, tea, or an alcoholic beverage, depending on what time of the day it is that you're watching this. Right. I think everything's working all right, but I'm also a little paranoid, so I'm going to make sure. Probably turn that down. And I need to. I didn't get a late start. I was reading some of the news and some of the things that I'm going to be talking about today. There we go. All right. What's up, Aaron? William Thorpe. Good to see you guys. Good morning or evening or afternoon, whenever this finds you. Well, you guys are live, so it's all good. I know Aaron was at Gamehole Con. Aaron, what was your biggest highlight at Gamehole Con? Is there a highlight of your convention? Your convention? Let's see. I don't know. What can I say about what can I do as the entry question today? We talked about classes. We talked about favorite non-fantasy role-playing game. Halloween. 'Tis the season. Do you run a seasonal Halloween game? And if so, what is it? And with whom? I need more details. Is it something you would like to do? What's up, Joe Swick? Good to see you, man. I hope you're doing all right. Question I think I'm posing to people is, have you or would you run a Halloween-themed game? Every year Halloween comes along. Wow, that is really bright. Every year Halloween comes around, and I always want to have an annual game right around the season, right? Running, like, of course, a horror-themed game I think would be ideal, but I never, like many things, it sneaks up on you, and I'm ill-prepared. I have been reading a little Call of Cthulhu, which is not in front of me. Hold on, I'll go get it. Mansions of Madness. I was reading the first one. There's so many horror-based RPGs out there. I'm surprised I haven't jumped on that yet. Happy Jack's Funhouse on drive-thru. I ran once. It took it too many sessions. It went until around Christmas. Yeah. Hey, Wayne. Good to see you. The question I have is, have you thought or considered or run a Halloween based game? Yeah. I've run Halloween games in the past, but not regularly. Yeah. I think I'm gonna try to. It's a little late for this year, I think, right? Like, I've got, 2 days? I don't think I'm gonna make it, but I think in the future I'm going to. I've always wanted to, like, do custom invitations, like, and actually send them to people, and then, like, you've been cordially invited to play in this particular game. The only drawback to that is, I think I would probably have to get a group signed up for it, right? Like, just get a group that I know that are anticipating the Halloween game, and then I would send them invites as almost a formal, as if they weren't already going to play. What's up, Roger? Roger, I need to know if you run a Halloween-themed RPG. What is it? If you don't, would you consider? Why haven't you done it? What game would you run? Let me know. Seems like, is my camera, I feel lower. Usually I sit higher in the frame. Maybe it's my slippers. I don't know. Maybe it's illusion. I don't know what it is. Morning, Brett. Morning. Would love to run 10 candles for Halloween. Yeah, that's a good one. It's funny, man. I was just telling the Thursday night crew, Forbidden Lands crew, which Wayne and Harrigan, Kevin, and Phil. Kevin usually doesn't make this chat, but the three of those guys usually show up. Side tangent, but I was recruiting, and I have Game Master in my actual title on LinkedIn. Every once in a while, I'll get somebody that actually notices that. And that happened this past week, where typically recruiters sometimes can get some flack, sending out an email and you didn't look at my profile. What are you doing? That pay is way low. I had the pay way low piece come in, but he spurred a conversation about role-playing games. Like, hey, do you run a Halloween themed game? And I said, no. And that's how the conversation went. It was like, no, salary is too low. And oh, by the way, I'm doing this now. I'm not really focused on that, which is what I hit him up for. And he went into just game talk. He's like, yeah, I'm waiting for the Mothership game to come out, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, have you played? I don't know if he actually answered that question. And then he's like, yeah, if I would probably decide, I'd probably maybe consider 10 candles. I'm like, ooh, that's a good one. Yeah, I've heard good things. And then I said, what are you playing now? Or what's your kind of go-to? And he's like, well, probably, DCC is easy to throw down and run a pickup game. Maybe that, or maybe Sinister Swords and Sorcerer's Spells or whatever. And I said, yeah, the community that I'm involved with some folks are pretty high on Diogo. So it's just kind of it wasn't like, yep, I play D&D, or I've always wanted to play D&D, or I played D&D when I was a teenager and then I got out of it. I've always thought about getting back into it, but I don't know. It's like, that's usually the reply. So this guy was pretty, I would say, gamer savvy, which was kind of cool, makes your day. Like, doing the work, and then somebody's like, hey, let's talk about gaming. I'm like, sure, man, let's do it. So the question, meeting all the BSers, was the highlight of the con for me. No lie. Aaron, that's no BS, Aaron says. Aaron, a.k.a. Demon Grinder. William, good to see you. I don't get games to the table enough. Once I'm comfortable enough, I might consider it, at which point I'll evaluate to run. I think if I had a choice, Delta Green is a good one, but sometimes Delta Green is not always necessarily horror. Alien would probably be a go-to for me. Alien, Mothership, Death in Space, Call Cthulhu maybe. Those would be at the top of the list for me to run. 10 candles would be cool. I know you could do it maybe virtually. I know some people have done it. I don't know if that's the way to go. I don't have a local face-to-face group, so I'm not sure how that would go. Plus, my local face-to-face group might not be interested in playing something like that. Roger says, I have in the past did an overnight thing at the FLGS years back. Ran Dread and Fiasco. Also done Deadlands one-shots for Halloween. No plans to do anything this year. Yeah. I think I'm gonna try to get some interest in that whole invitation piece, even if I did it virtually. Do you say, hey, 8 people, every Halloween I'm going to run a game, and expect and hope that 3 might not be able to make it, or 4, and you could still run it with 4 others? I don't know. I do not know. I don't know if I can do this. I have something to share. If I can share it. There's a video that I want to share, but it pertains to, it has audio, and I don't think I have my OBS set up to capture the audio from the YouTube channel, but let me see if I can check. Maybe. Not sure. Let me see if this works. Nope, that is not capturing it. That isn't going to do it. I could probably can that. Actually, hold on a second. I promise you I'm still here. I should probably do this in studio mode so it doesn't because it's important to this kickoff that I can try to this happen. See if this will. Not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. Oh man, let's see. 2i2 solo is on. This may work. I think. Let me see. Ray would do that, honestly. There, you guys can hear that. All right, fantastic. I think I got it squared away. Got it squared away. Pretty sure. All right, so let's kick things off, shall we? I'm going to go back. Okay, well, I'm going to start off with a recap of Gamehole Con. Okay, I know con stories probably rank up there with tell me about your character stories or tell me about your game stories, but that's okay. I think sometimes this is just, some people might have wanted to be there, and I think this convention for me was a special one because I had some really weird things happen. Weird isn't good. What's up, Lucas from Nebraska? Lucas, do you run a Halloween game? If so, what? And would you consider it? If you don't. So Gamehole Con was last week, and that's why I didn't stream. I apologize for not letting you guys know ahead of time. I should have probably posted that. You do run 10 candles. Very cool. Very cool. Do you run it face-to-face? So it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's the first convention I've been to face-to-face since 2019, Gamehole 2019. Right, 2020, yeah, 2021. Yes, so 2 years missed. And I I ran Blade Runner from Free League on Thursday. And I knew 3 of the people at the table. One person I did not know. So I think it was Eric Frankhaus, Chad Glayman, and Harrigan got in on that. A couple bumps in the road for rules, but nothing too bad. Ran it as it's a case file. So you guys are probably like, Blade Runner, cool. It's not out yet, but it should be by the end of the year. I think they're targeting the print. So for Kickstarters, you get the PDF, and that's what I ran. I got in on the box. I kicked in for the box set, which contains a case file, all the handouts and things of that nature. So I did that. My experience with Blade Runner, even prepping, was interesting because my only beef with Free League, one of the biggest beefs I have, is for some of their properties. I think Coriolis is even like this, but Coriolis, Alien, Blade Runner, it's all black. Everything's black. So you get the character sheets and it's just a sheet of black. I ran it through my printer and just there goes all my toner. And what's up, Victor? So I had to go in and make it a white character sheet. So I think there's talks of maybe putting out printer-friendly material, specifically like, if you got handouts, it's kind of a pain in the ass. So how was I going to do all these handouts? So give you kind of the context. In Blade Runner, you're playing Blade Runners of the Rep Detection Unit, or RDU. So you're the Harrison Ford of investigating, and really tasked with coming down on Nexus 8s, which are the ones that are in the original Blade Runner movie that go awry, and they're illegal. They have created Nexus 9s, which are relatively new but safer. And because they're new, if you've been on the Force and you've experienced the older models, then you're probably a little skeptical. So you have, in this scenario, one veteran cop that's been on the Force for 16 years. And then you have a couple Nexus 9s and another human person that's been on the Force for 3 years. So you kind of get this weird, you get this dynamic. And in Blade Runner, it's good they encourage you to split the party. And it's like many Free League games, it's done in shifts, which are quarters of the day, and anywhere you go takes a shift. And you can access the mainframe for information remotely, and you don't have to go anywhere. So it doesn't take you a shift, but then there's a few nuances. Anyways, it went well, I thought, and it did come to an end. I did kind of have to speed it up because I don't think that, and it would have been, it's an easy way to come to an ending, right? In the scenario that I was running. The feedback was that it was good, despite, Harrigan enjoyed it quite a bit. I will run it again, maybe even for BSRCon or sooner. My only concern with running it for online is that I would probably have to do it virtually. Of course, that was kind of a dumb thing to say, but I wouldn't use a virtual tabletop is what I was going after. Until the Foundry module is released, and even then I'm not sure, because that's another component I'm starting to come to grips with from last BSRCon. So I ran that. Wow, that was a tangent. I ran that on Thursday. Friday I ran Forbidden Lands for 4 people. None had played before. Some had read the rule book. The one shot went really well. We had an individual who, it was more of a site. So if you're familiar with Forbidden Lands, there's quite the journey. And in the one shot, there's not a lot of journey. So I had them run through a couple hexes and everything went swimmingly. So they didn't get a lot of the cool drawbacks that comes with failing in that game. They get to the site, they dispatch a couple guys, then they explore the site, and actually finished. I think I would have had, if I had done 5, I think I had to wrap it up at the end because there was somebody waiting for the table. But we had an individual that was just like, there's a door, I turn the knob and I open it, which was good, right? No fuss, no muss, get through quick. And that was kind of it. It went well. One of the things I did not realize was the individual sitting at my table playing with his partner was wearing red coveralls, right? Coveralls. Yeah, I guess they're not coveralls. And fast forward later in the con, and Harrigan and I think Mirko played Paranoia, and he was the game master for Paranoia. Actually, he and she were running Paranoia together, and he's the one that's doing the new edition for Paranoia. So that's cool. I usually don't run for other game designers or folks that are in the industry, if you will. So that was interesting to find out. I didn't know that at the time when I was running Forbidden Lands, but it was fun. It was good. Went rather well. First time I ran it face to face, so I had to break out my initiative cards and got my books out and had to reference a couple things, but otherwise I thought it went pretty well. And then Saturday I did nothing. I had nothing on my list. And then Sunday I show up and take off. Got to see a lot of BSers. Thank you all for coming out. I know it's not easy and it's not cheap. So, I know I'll probably miss a few, and I apologize, but some of the folks that came on were like Hoos, Eileen Barnes, Brandon, Harrigan, Mirko, Wayne, and let's see. Oh man, who else came out that traveled quite a bit? Edwin, Nagy, but he's from Maine and he works for Frog God, so he might have kind of dipped into to their coffers to get there. Go Tuesday, Mothership, Alien, Rats in the Walls, Eldritch Tales, Cthulhu Hack. Yeah, nice. Hey, Harry, good morning. So those were the games I ran. We played Easy D6. Mirko ran that to his regret, I'm sure, because we just ran roughshod over him as players. But it was good. It was fun. It was like a 2-hour game. And then Wayne ran Breakers for us. And Breakers is what is it? White Dungeon? What was it? The White Dungeon hack? World of Dungeons? World of Dungeons. That's what it was. People are like practically typing. World of Dungeons hack, which was pretty cool. It's kind of like where these crystals, Zwiefer, Laramie, thank you, Victor. Oh my God. How could I forget, right? Thank you. Breakers was fun. I played some memorable characters for sure. And it was me, Harrigan, Hoos, Scott, a friend of Eric Salzwiedel's, and Eric Salzwiedel. And the premise of the game is that you're kind of modern day people, and there's 4 types of classes or archetypes you play, 4 or 5. Yeah. And it's kind of, how do I describe it? It's crazy, right? Demon Grinder, Nola Burt. Yeah, Salzwiedel. Absolutely. Well, Nola Burt and Salzwiedel and Demon Grinder don't really count because they're local. But thank you. Yes, for sure. It was good to see everybody there. There's so many. Let's see. And Zwiefer brought apple cider, homemade, and gave me some. He's a big beekeeper, so he brought me like honey right out of the combs, which was great. Anyways, Breakers. Crystal comes along. Somehow maybe it's implemented because somebody was tampering with something they shouldn't have. And what happens is it kind of morphs modern day world into like the fantasy dungeon kind of world. And you play a crack team that goes in and gets rid of that crystal so that both realities could separate and go back to what they were. Otherwise, one reality consumes the other, etc. And it's usually probably the fantasy one. So you make some off-the-wall characters. Harrigan made a memorable character called Bronco. Bronco is probably your typical 80s Sylvester Stallone. Just Stallone and Schwarzenegger and Kurt Russell all rolled into one. And, just picture this guy putting a gun together with like 50 components, right? Like 3 different scopes and a laser vision and night vision scope. And it's like taking 10 to 20 minute montage to actually assemble the thing, right? It's got some macho one sentence one-liners. Hoos played a female scientist who was very attractive. Is one of the characteristics, physical appearance wise. Eric played a kind of an elf bard of another world, kind of more like a sci-fi ethereal elf bard, right? Spoke very eloquently. Scott played a thiefy, roguey, sneaky guy. Star elf. Thank you, Harrigan. A star elf, yes. And then I played a character by the name of Jason Hubbs. And Jason Hubbs is a not to be confused, and any and all of these characters are purely fictional, and any representation is merely coincidental. So Jason Hubbs, I played Jason Hubbs, and he was a floor salesman who had a podcast called Unrandom Creed. So he and his podcast was a fan podcast for the musical group Creed. So played, kind of a down to earth guy from the Midwest, who is like kind of a mobile podcaster. There you go. So, anyways, what's up, Orcus Dorcas? Yes, Hoos was definitely the brains of the operation. So we did that. Wayne, clever name Wayne, ran that for us. Again, anybody who runs games, I think for Harrigan and Salzweedle at the same table, because I obviously was not remotely a part of any type of ruckus. The patience of a saint, which Mirko understands. Yeah. And I always said, hey, morning creaters. So that was fun. So that was some of the games that I played. I didn't have any really scheduled, so I appreciate Mirko and Wayne allowing me to drop in on those. That was good times. What else? I mean, for an experience-wise, I had somebody, I met David. He came to Virginia, from Virginia, and we were talking. He came, hey, just want to say, listen to the show. Big fan here because I heard about Game Hole Con from you guys, and I came just because I heard that from you guys. So that's what I'm here. I don't remember if it was his first convention or not, but had me sign his Mutant Crawl Classics book. Super nice guy. Actually talked to him this past week for something else. Met the Cypher Unlimited. I think that's their podcast, Cypher Unlimited podcast. Met Anthony from there. He's from Queens, New York. I don't think I met a bigger, exciting, like just overly enthusiastic individual who wants, he just apparently was a big fan of the show and started their podcast off of ours, which means that somewhere they thought they said, you know what, I can listen to Brett and Sean, and I think we could do it better. And those guys are no joke. So they are they get on Monty Cook's website. They're all Cypher all day. So they have like a 5,000 member Discord, which is great and fantastic. I had another individual. I won't mention his name. I know him. He's met him through a few different channels. Met him at GaryCon, and he's listened to our show. He told me that he's meeting his biological brother for the first time. Talk about a strange, interesting, big moment. And then when his brother came to the con, he, hey, I want you to meet my brother. And he had never known him. And that was surreal. I dressed up as Eddie Munson on Friday and ran my Forbidden Lands game. And after I was kind of trying to pick up, there was a young lady. She might have been 12 years old. She's like, I like your costume, and gave me a D. I hope here, I'm going to give you this. I want to give you this D20, and gave me a die because she liked my costume, and she was wearing a Hellfire Club shirt, and I had a picture. So I tracked her down after putting all my stuff away, and asked Mom if it would be okay to take a picture with her, and so we have a picture. I'll have to it's on our Discord if you haven't seen it, but just a really special moment, I think. So just some highlights amongst meeting everybody and having those come up is just really something. So anyways, that's Game Hole Con. I don't know what else to say. I don't know if you had questions about it, but it was good. The attendances, I talked to the group, the game holders. And they said that attendance is back to pre-pandemic levels. It didn't seem as crowded as years past. And I say crowded, it wasn't not crowded in the years past, but because they didn't have the whole exhibition hall in the years past, where this year they did, it just seemed that the amount of people were thinner. But make no mistake, they're back up and running and going well. And you had to show proof of vaccination and everything. There were some people wearing masks, but for the most part, as far as I know, nobody's caught COVID since then that I'm aware of. So it went, and even con crud, I haven't gotten cod crud or anything. So it went fairly uneventful. No, so it was good. Did I miss anything? It was an absolute awesome experience across the board. Great games, incredible seeing all the BSers. We had some good beer and great meals, and lampshades and revolvers were talked about. Lampshades and revolvers. So it's a story that was shared by somebody who reminisced about younger years. So when you get completely out of control, we all have maybe done that in one way, shape, or form when we were younger. Maybe had a little too much to drink, did some foolish things. Forever moving forward, it will be considered a lampshades and revolvers moment. So, yeah. So there's a game somewhere to be made about lampshades and revolvers. People have mentioned modeling it after lasers and feelings and things of that nature, but it was quite interesting. Good lampshades and revolvers. Yeah, baby. Woo! Insert Jeff voice. All right, let's get into some other stuff, right? The exhibit hall over in a smaller room. Yeah, back in the day when I was in a smaller room, sure. It's been bigger. Met some folks from Free League Press. Doug was very kind at the Free League booth. Picked up a couple books. Actually, I guess I could share that before we move on too quick. I got Mutant Year Zero Elysium. Any Mutant Year Zero folks? Apparently, this is a standalone. Like, I don't need any other book. This is the game if I want to run this, which is interesting. So Mutant Crawl Classics. Mutant Year Zero, the original is, I think, where you play mutants, right? Mostly like animal-based mutants. And you're out in the zone, and so post-apocalyptic. Elysium is the piece where you play humans. So apparently in the original, humans are not overly prevalent, but in Elysium, that's all you play. And you can put it out in the zone, so you can take some of the human pieces of this and put it out in the zone. But Elysium is its own kind of, they built a structure to house all of humanity, or a majority of humanity. And there's like 4 factions in this, and just a brief overview. And there's 4 factions, and you could play in this campaign world. And this is all I need. So it's a great book. I have all the Mutant Year Zero stuff, much of it in PDF from one of the bundles. And so this is the only book that I have in print for this game. Yeah, book 2, Gene Labs, Gene Animals. Book 3, Robots. Lucas, do you play? And then Simbarum Monster Codex. So this one, a little thinner than the bestiaries that you might get from other games. It's about 190 pages. And I have the core rulebook in print, and I also have the first one. I have the Adventure Collectibles Collections book. So I have the core book, the Adventure Collections, and then this one now in print. I should probably get this in PDF. I think they offer it in PDF too if I ask them. So this is great. Awesome. So thanks, Free League. Go buy their stuff. Favorite Simbarum book, yeah. And Harrigan played Simbarum. Harrigan's kind of poo-pooed Simbarum original, but then are you back on it, buddy, from like Gamehole Con? Because he had a good experience with the Simbarum game that he played in. I know you love this setting. Don't get me wrong. I'm not, Harrigan likes the game, but I think he wasn't big on the mechanics. So, and then of course, some of you might have kickstarted Cyborg and gotten a shipping notice. And I thought, wow, I never got mine. And then I got a shipping notice, and I thought, oh, my Cyborg must be coming, but it didn't. And I ended up getting this, which is Alien Heart of Darkness, which I pre-ordered. So I think I hadn't even checked if the shipping notice was for this or Cyborg. So I could have, I guess, maybe gotten it, but I'm pretty sure it was for this. So it's still in shrink. This would be good to run probably as a Halloween one-shot, because it's really kind of that. 3 to 5 players. Box set contains the main scenario book, huge double-sided map, 7 pre-generated characters, custom cards for weapons, player maps, and handouts. Yeah. So there. And then I bought just never ends. Mansions of Madness. I don't have any like modern, other than Masks, I don't have an adventure for Call of Cthulhu, so I just picked up this one. There's what, 4? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 Call of Cthulhu 7th edition scenarios in this, and I think most of it's been reprinted, right? Mr. Corbett, the Cracked and Crooked Mance, the Code, the House of Memphis, and the 19th Hole. So this one's like comes in at just over 200 pages, and so pick that up. So there you have it. Okay, that's Gamehole Con. It's fun. Look forward to being there next year with bells on. I hope some of you can make the trip again. If you can't, I understand, because again, it's not cheap. Travel, hotel expense. I mean, I'm sure $1,000 is not unheard of to go through for a 4-day weekend. But I hope it was all worth it. It was definitely worth it for me. And if I make a ton of money and make millions of dollars, I'd fly you all out and we'd have all a good time. Okay. Let's get to this. I'm going to put my headphones on because I can't turn up the volume and do this. So listen to this, okay? I don't know Ray, but just speculation wise, right? He may just be very, very comfortable managing on the succession plan that would move up into that position. Have we been kind of... So this is 2 weeks ago, I was talking about the new hire for Wizards of the Coast taking over Dungeons and Dragons, the VP who came from Microsoft and oversaw their Dynamics product line, okay, who is a former colleague, I believe, I have to imagine they worked together at some point, Cynthia Williams. I'm just kind of bringing this back because it's going to be relevant in a second. Not training them. Yeah, I suppose sometimes people call it grooming. It's kind of got a negative connotation nowadays, obviously, for obvious reasons. But do we have somebody aligned to take over that succession plan? And I know it's getting into corporate speak, but this is the D&Ds, right? But, and then what happens is if you're not on that succession plan, do you know? Maybe not. And then they promote somebody into that position. And yay, great. They stay with the company. They're happy because they're moving up. But when people internally apply to those positions that have certain tenure and been with the company, and that's what their aspirations are, is become that C-level position, and they're denied, then they have 2 options. They can kind of suck it up and go another 4 years and hope that that person comes in, makes the changes, and then leaves, which is not wholly unlikely at the C-level. Or they just keep trucking away and they're fine with the ceiling that they hit in the company. Most of the times, if they've got aspirations to get to that level, they leave the company. That's right. if they have aspirations to move up in the company and they create a position over them and they do not get that position, they can suck it up and stay with the company, or they can decide to leave. And what is going on here? Oh, so they can decide to leave. So D&D studio head Ray Winiger steps down. October 22nd is when this article was posted, which means it was last week that I would have probably brought it up if I had streamed and recorded. And then the week before that, around the 15th, is the video I had mentioned where how does this affect Ray's job in the position that he's in? And lo and behold, Ray was like, well, I am obviously not going to get a VP position, and so I guess I'm out of here. Now, there's probably something more, there may be more to it than that, who knows? Or just maybe, hey, I've done my time here and I'm going to move on to do something else. Maybe there's a change in direction that he didn't particularly appreciate, right? So, hey, the company's going in that direction. That's great. It's not for me. I'm moving on. Regardless, and we also don't know, I can tell you from experience when they say person steps down, we don't know the nuances of that, right? We don't actually know if they step down or if that's just good PR or how do I put it? Constructive PR. So it may be where it says in the article, right? Confirmed news on Twitter. He confirmed it on Twitter. So I don't even think they put out they might have put out a press release. I don't know, but he put it out on Twitter following an edit to his Twitter profile description in which he removed all mention from Wizards of the Coast. And he said on Twitter that he had indeed left Wizards of the Coast, stating that he had accomplished the ambitious goals we set when he took over the D&D team. The departure seems to be an amicable one, with Winiger thanking the D&D team and stating that he looked forward to following the franchise as a fan again. Quoting, shepherding D&D was an honor and a privilege, but I'm looking forward to slowing down and getting back to a list of personal design projects, end quote, Winiger said. So he took over D&D design team in 2020 and oversaw a transition and release from adventure-focused books set in the Forgotten Realms to more campaign-setting releases, exploring various classic planes like Ravenloft and Spelljammer. Also announced last year that his design team was working on a new evolution of D&D, which was formally revealed earlier through the 1D&D playtest. The timing of Winiger's departure is curious for several reasons. First, Wizards of the Coast recently announced the new VP of D&D. Hello, franchise Dan Rawson. Dan, that's my Dan Rawson. Don't know why, but I'm just going to do that. Former tech executive. The announcement also comes in the middle of the 1D&D playtest, with designers focusing on making revisions and tweaks to the current 5th edition instead of releasing a brand new game system. I don't think that's debated all over the place. Finally, it comes following Hasbro announcement that Wizards of the Coast had a soft quarter, not a hard quarter, soft quarter. Although those were largely to delays of several Magic the Gathering products and other timing nuances. Ray needs to do Underground 2.0. Did he do the original? I don't know Ray very well, and I know he's been in the hobby for a while. My speculation is they didn't promote him. He had a choice to suck it up and stay, and toe the corporate line, or leave of his own doing. It sounds like it was his choice from what he said. I left, right? There you go. If it was hey, we need to talk, Ray, and we're going in a particular direction. Your job is done here. Then I would say that it's something more like we parted ways, and And that was it. Like something a little more not my choice statement would have been made. I'm looking into this from just been in these types of situations because I'm usually on the end of replacing somebody or understanding the dynamics of leadership changes in corporate America. So wish and Ray all the best, and also they're all in on digital. And while Ray has the RPG chops, and frankly, this thing, it could have been where Ray was championing digital all along and they just would squash it. And then all of a sudden they hire Cynthia and Dan Rawson, and now it's like this thing. So Ray could be throwing up his hands and like, I've been trying to do that for the last 4 years, but nobody's wanted to pursue that. So yeah, great. Now, like, okay, I just got to go. So who knows? The facts of the matter is he's no longer with Wizards of the Coast. They did hire Dan Rawson to be the D&D VP of D&D. The VP of D&D. That's a lot of letters. And they're going more digital. That's what we know. So there you go. Saw it coming, folks. Just saying. Just saying. All right. What else can we go over and talk about? What is why is this in here? I don't know why this is in here. Oh, this is something I want to bookmark. Okay, here we go. All right. Star Wars RPG finally gets a reprint after multi-year hiatus. I don't know. Whoops, I didn't want to click that because I don't want to go to the ad. So it was announced a while ago by Edge Studios, which is the RPG arm that's overseeing all the previous RPGs that were at Fantasy Flight Games. Now they're at Edge Studios. All under one big Asmodee. Ty, I don't know what you're talking about. Under one huge umbrella. So they said, hey, we're going to reprint some of these books. Yeah, that's a while ago. But now it's finally coming to fruition. So if you're a Star Wars tabletop RPG fan, specifically the Fantasy Flight edition, the Genesis Dice, if you will, they announced a new print run on several Star Wars era source books, ending a multi-year hiatus of sorts for the once popular game. So Rise of the Separatists, Starships and Speeders, and Dawn of the Rebellion have been all solicited by Asmodee in recent days, meaning that hobby retailers can order them for their stores for the first time in several years. Additionally, Game Master kits for Age of Rebellion and Edge of Empire were also solicited and should be available starting next month, which is great. And it tells us a little bit about some of the details of, I mean, did you know? I did not. Man, Star Wars Fantasy Flight Games has been around since 2012. So it's been 10 years. And apparently still got the license. So usually bounces. So Edge of the Empire, for instance, focused on Outer Rim, talks a little bit about the games. I did not know that WWE's rollout had Freddie Prinze Jr. as a game master running this. What? Did you guys know this? Joe Swick, I know you're in the wrestling space. Did you know this? Fantasy Flight unexpectedly ended support for the game in 2019. So like almost 3 years ago, man. What is this garbage? I hate when that does that. 2019? What? Yeah, where I lost my damn space. So anyways, that's good stuff after the release of Rise of the Separatists and Collapse of the Republic. And then shortly thereafter, Fantasy Flight Star Wars games were sent off to Asmodee-owned studios. So X-Wing Miniatures and Star Wars Legion went to Atomic Mass Games, while the RPG lines went to Edge Studio. So in late 2021, Edge Studio announced that they would reprint. So that's when they announced it, about a year ago, probably. But that was it. So Edge Studios, man, I don't know. Midnight RPG, great book, great setting. Like no marketing. They obviously have a problem with like, hey, we're gonna reprint them. Crickets for a year. Like what the hell? So they're either way big or they're I don't know. Stuff's falling through the cracks. Kevin, I happened to grab the latest Star Wars book I was missing. Ship Speeders or some such just before Asmodee grabbed them. Ty, I knew Freddie did Genesis game for WE people. You did, Ty? Interesting. I'll have to check that out. Orcus, they are rare. There are stacks of FFG Star Wars books in my FLGS. They're not rare. Some of them might be lower in quantity or you might not be able to find, but it's pretty much out there. I think what's happened is they probably had a really large print run for some of those books. And there's a lot of splat books, like an exorbitant amount of splat books for Star Wars Fantasy Flight games. They're good because they're not just, hey, here's a book on bounty hunters. It also has bounty hunter stuff, and then they'll probably put in a planet and even some species in there. So each book does expand things quite a bit for each of those. I do not have all the splat books. I get the general ones, like the core books, and then I get like the spaceships and the gear, and then maybe an NPC book. That's kind of it for me, like the monster book. I don't want all the other ones. It's just way too much. I got to imagine you're probably going to spend, I mean, if it's $50 a book and they've got at least 5 splat books per edition, 250, 500, 750, you're probably looking at $1,000. It's a lot. But they're all good, but I'm just not running it that much. And most of them are class based. So if a player's like, hey, I'm hip on bounty hunters and I get the bounty hunter book because they want to play certain options, then great. That's not a big deal. But as a game master, I just don't need all that stuff. Oh, they were. Books have been, I did not realize that. Interesting. Good to know, Victor. So Victor says there are a few Star Wars books that have been in the $200, $300 range on eBay. Yeah, it's absurd. I would say if you go with any books, that may go up. If you want at least a 10 to 50% return, Star Wars is the way to go. Knights of the Old Republic on Saga Edition, I have an alert on Noble Knight Games for whenever a copy comes in, and it's usually like $250, which is crazy. Wayne says, since the movies were not as successful as many hoped, likely overprinted. Yeah, that's probably a good conclusion. I would bet that's the case. Jason says, tough time to take over Star Wars licensing for tabletop, softening franchise, plus the cost of production, particularly in the miniature space. Yeah, I think that fan base, man, it can really ruin a person's day. I don't know. We'll see. Mandalorian's decent. Andor, I want to finish. I liked it. I think those have some potential, but yeah, it's the funny thing is you could buy those role-playing games and then just make it whatever you want. So yeah. Kevin says, oh yeah, I went all in on the Edge of the Empire line and then grabbed the unlined ones that left Age of Rebellion and Force of Destiny to others in my group to gather. Yeah. Victor's like only 5 books missing. You are out of your mind. Good for you, man. That's a library there. It's a library. It's one of the few I've just considered getting all. So I think it's a great game. I don't know. And it might drop later. Like D20 Star Wars was pretty, I mean, I thought it was good for what it was. But And I think you could pick up some of those old supplements for cheap now. I just don't know when or how long has to go by before it drops. Anyways, you remember when I got that initial chunk? I do remember when you got it, Victor. Victor and I were pretty close on Google Plus, and I remember you dropped all your Magic the Gathering cards for some cash, and then you went in all in on those Star Wars books. You got a haul. I remember that picture you took. Like, I was like, holy shit! Went out and bought like 10 Star Wars books, right? Man, good for you, dude. So there, some reprinting, yay, which will be nice. I always like that because I'm always interested to see like that secondary market just take a hit. Like, was it Horror on the Orient Express? That was always like $1,000 or something, $800 for the box set, and then they reprinted it. Yeah, suckers. Victor, I have all the Saga books, and I'm only missing one book from the first D20 version. Oh, you are an animal. All my Star Wars books are in a box because nobody wants to play it anymore. Hey, Ty, why don't you give those books up, buddy? Send them in a Noble Knight. Get some money, and then you can send them in a Noble Knight and give them to people or allow people to buy them that want to play it. Collector brain in action for sure. All right. Let's see. So what else? All right. So that's good to hear. Hopefully it doesn't go another long time. So I know we're going to do Kickstarter, probably go through what's going to be out there for Kickstarter for crowdsourcing. But I thought Paranoia Perfect Edition would be good to highlight since the gentleman who's doing this actually played in my Forbidden Lands game. So it may show up on the EN World crowdsourcing, things that have been crowdsourced this week. But it looks, if you're a fan of Paranoia, go nuts. $105,000 of 29. I had the white box version of Paranoia. It was, I think, the most recent, and I picked it up, and I think, did I get in on it on a Kickstarter? I think I might have just picked it up in a game store. And never played it, gave it up to Noble Knight. I think I have the old PDFs from some bundles of the original Paranoia. But if you like it, here it is in its glory. The perfect edition. And this is going to end, as of this recording, this ends Sunday, November 27th. So like 29 days to go. Well-funded. And just it's known to be like a fun game, right? There's all the red coveralls that everybody's wearing. So if you don't know what Paranoia is, you got to know what it is. It's almost one of those things where people talk about it in the hobby, whether they've played it or not. And it's an interesting game. So yeah, there you go. It's all in pounds. Being out of the UK, Swindon, UK. I assure you the gentleman that played in my game, I don't believe, he could be from the UK, I guess. His accent isn't there, but the company's there anyway, for sure. So check it out, the video. I think he's, let's see here. There he is. That's him right there. In 1986. He was at my table. Somebody actually said that in the Discord. They're like, hey, Sean. They mentioned it at GameholeCon, Harrigan and Mirko, I think. And then they posted the Kickstarter in the Discord, and they're like, yeah, you'll see in the video. He was the guy. And that's what he wore to my game, the red coveralls, or the red bibs. That's what they are. Bid overalls. And that there you go. So check that out. All right, what else do we have on? That is not it. I think we went over the DC horror bundles, and I think, did we do? I don't know if I did this one. I don't think so. I saw this article by Chase on Dicebreaker. I don't know. I don't think I've talked about this. This procedurally generated dungeon crawler always ends in a total party kill. Well, that sounds fantastic. Delve well and leave a half-dissolved corpse. Step into the shoes of a doomed adventurer and attempt in vain to survive perilous depths. You meet in a tavern. You die in a dungeon. A new tabletop RPG currently crowdfunding on Kickstarter. Designed to hit the table with zero prep, Meet/Die, it's a big title, okay, is selling itself as an RPG with a party game mentality. Beer and pretzels. If your group is missing a key member but has the urge to swing bastard swords at skeletons, this game wants to be the obvious solution without requiring an hour of character generation beforehand. Divides itself into 2 distinct phases. Meeting in the tavern sees all the player characters introducing themselves via short scenes, either in pairs or groups. This will establish who they are and what they want, while also building connections and complications between them. Did the barbarian smash your master's phylactery in a drunken brawl? Was the rogue behind the confidence scam that robbed the cleric blind? Second part focuses on the dungeon, where the party will eventually and inevitably meet their end. Described as a fast-paced dungeon crawl that keeps forward action always in focus, this part of the game ratchets up the danger and daring do until each character in turn faces an obstacle they can't or won't overcome. This might be a good con game when everybody's sitting around, right? I don't know. At this point, Meet Die gives narrative fiat over to the players as they describe the method and manner of their grisly end. Perhaps it reflects their life in a bitter twist of dramatic irony, or they might achieve their goal by paying the ultimate price. Of course, there's always the chance that they tripped face first into a gelatinous cube thanks to an unbuckled boot. There you go. Actually, playing seems dead simple, pun intended. Meet Die uses a simple roll-under mechanic to resolve conflict and obstacles, which keeps the cognitive load pretty low and allows for folks to drop in and out of the game as needed. Facilitators will need a deck of standard playing cards and some dice, while players only need one 12-sided die, hey-oh, 12-sided, and a pair of 6-sided dice. And everything else is coordinated as a group. Ursidici is also the designer behind solo journaling RPG The Depths of the Forest, plus the host of one-page games. They are joined on the team by layout artist Jean Verne, artist Hodag RPG, and editor Sean F. Smith. So there you go. It runs until November 3rd, so you got like 2 days of this, 4 days of this recording to get to it. It's way funded at over 14 grand of 5,000. So that might be an interesting one to check out. I don't know. Procedurally generated dungeon crawler. It's out of Reading, UK. It's out of Reading. UK. There you go. Check that out. I think. Oh, that is not it. Got a new source for some news, I think. But let's go into what always usually comes through for me, which is wait a minute. Yeah, here's some stuff that I added. Okay, yeah, I added way more. Oh, this will be fun. So I posted this on Twitter. You know, there might be a problem when your social media team doesn't understand your product line. So, Yo Dano, who I missed that game whole con, by the way, found it quite amusing that when they were posting Dragonlance stuff to Twitter, and I say they as in D&D Beyond, they kept misspelling everything. So, for example, Krynn, if you're not familiar with Dragonlance, is kind of the continent that Dragonlance takes place on. One of the main continent, anyway. Or is it the world of Krynn, the continent of Absalom? That's what it is. But obviously, it's K-Y-R-I or K-I-K-Y-R-N-N. So they spelled it incorrectly, and then it ended up trending because people were like retweeting it apparently. And then you have somebody else that pointed out another tweet by D&D Beyond that was Salmnia, right? Not the Knights of Salamnia. So bring the War of the Lance to your table and become the hero that Krynn, in this tweet, spelled properly, needs. Play Kendro and follow your curiosity for adventure and mischief. Join the forces of legendary like the Knights of Somnia or the Mages of High Sorcery. It's just, I just found it quite amusing. And this is an ad, right? This is D&D Beyond promoting their tweet and paying money for something that was spelled incorrectly. Like, there you go. Hey, happens to the best of us. I send out emails with wrong things in it all the time. I am also, yeah, there you go. Salami, Knights of Salami. The Knights of Salami. And it was like, this is like two things. Like, you can't make this stuff up, right? Like, Krynn is wrong. And it's in the same thread, I think, like right. Oh my gosh. I can't remember where it was. I thought it was in the same thread, but and then they just kind of piled on it. It was kind of funny. Anyways, I thought that was amusing. And then, of course, oh, I hear movement above, which means I'm going to have to take out the dogs. Who let the dogs out? And I thought it on an hour. But now that the wife is up, I'm going to probably have to take them out. All right, see ya, Kev. There are 3 videos out about Krynn and the Dragonlance stuff that's coming out. So if you're a fan of Wizards of the Coast and Dragonlance, you probably want to check those out. Or you already probably know about those, which is going to be the new feats, Knights of Salamnia, Mages of High Sorcery, and everything you need to play Dragonlance. Taking place. Some of you might have.
So we have a new D&D book coming out. It's Dragonlance: Shadow of the Dragon Queen. What can people expect from this?
Details of these of the upcoming release.
One of my
and it's probably to help educate some of the folks that haven't had exposure to Dragonlance. But if you want an update on how the products are coming along, which is slotted for December, which isn't very far away, you'll want to check those out. All right. Paizo blog, what's going on with Paizo? Like really mainstream stuff. There's the Kingmaker stuff we've mentioned before on here. This was dated the 26th of October, so just an update on the Pathfinder Kingmaker suite. So kind of what Kingmaker's about, who rules the Stolen Lands, what you need to play. You've got the cool fancy edition and what it contains. Oh, excuse me. And then so that's the special edition there. Quite schmancy. You have the Kingmaker Companion Guide and the special edition of that. And then you have the Bestiary, which is really what you need to play the 5th edition part of it, apparently. There it is. This is one for PFRPG, and this one is for D&D. So it tells you all about, then it's got the management screen, the kingdom tracker. Like it's, if you like Kingmaker or you're even interested in it, this is like everything Kingmaker. It's just a ton of stuff. All right, what else? Starfinder Humble Bundle. If you're like if you want to get and check out Pathfinder, Starfinder Humble Bundle is a good thing to check out and get for probably something reasonable. I posted it on our Discord. I think I have one of the Pathfinder Humble Bundles. So I probably don't need this one. But if you're interested in it, it's a good one. Oops. Where did I put it? Humble Bundle. Here it is. I'm not a big fan of Starfinder myself. I've played it once. I have not played Pathfinder 2, but this one will give you like the Game Mastery Guide for Pathfinder amongst all these titles. And then you also get the core rule book, a couple adventures, the bestiary, some maps. So if you're on the virtual side, probably comes in handy. The Frozen Flame, looks like Adventure Arc. It's quite a bit there. And proceeds help the Carl Brannon Society, which is a charity that Humble Bundle gives to for this particular bundle. So there you go for that. Oh. Shadowrun Hack and Slash is out. Big Shadowrunners by Catalyst Games. Apparently it takes place in like 1989. Some people that are big Shadowrun folks have been waiting for this one. My buddy Jimmy's a big Shadowrun guy. He's ran a few games at Gamehole Con. And knows the different editions, and he has opinions. So if you're big into the 6th, Hack and Slash is the core Matrix rulebook for Shadowrun 6th World. There you go. All right. And I think EN World just commented a little bit about that under their info for the week. They also posted this, which I thought was kind of cool, maybe. This is the RPG Starter Kit by Q Workshop. So recruit your friends into the hobby with our RPG Starter Kit to get 30% off your purchase. So the RPG Starter Kit. Whoops, that is the wrong screen. I'm like, try this. Look at that. See a little notebook, set of dice, dice bag. Not sure what this wooden thing is with the little chit. Look at that. You could have fun just like these folks like that. Looks like there's some reference sheets. Yeah, the box. It's got a glossary, die types. Yeah, it's nice. Little starter set. Initiative tracker maybe, right? Maybe that's what that is. All you need in your first game. Look at that. Looks pretty nice. But start playing an RPG and be the hero you always wanted to become. Game where you can play certain of your choosing. You get Elvish dice bag, player's notebook, pencil, and level counter board. A wooden tablet with a spinning wheel inside. Painted numbers on the wheel surface allow you to choose which one shows in the special window on the tablet, thus allowing you to keep track of your character's level progression. Maybe it's better for our class. But, neat. I always wanted to do something like this for Gaming and BS, like a journal, like a kit, that you could use at cons. For game masters, so you would have like 5 little notebooks, pencils, maybe a set of dice. I don't know. It's not cheap, though. You can't give it away for free. You can't give it away for free. Oh, let's see what else. Print news, crowdfunding news. Print news from our friends over at EN World. Anyone back that Monty Python game? Says Orcus Dorcas. I did not. Did not. No interest. Zero. Although the Kickstarter is like off the hook, right? So print news from EN World. First one, Terror of Octobernomicon by Goblin Press Games, $40. So this covers new RPG. What is this? Collection of 7 adventures, each one adventuring original creatures selected from the Octobernomicon collection on shoggoth.net. 1 Darker Down Trail scenario and 1 Cthulhu Evictus scenario. Okay, that's cool. Yes, Island of the Crab Archon by Epic Encounters, but for 5th edition, $55. Confront cruel cutthroat crustacean creatures, crabfolk, the Carquinos. Any sailor worth his salt has learned to fear them. 21 unpainted miniatures in a box. That's what it is. Arbon and the Rot Dragon and Vortex Isles, 5th edition, and Cairn, OS/OSR, softcover supplements, $12 each. This is coming from Exalted Funeral. The Leprechaun. I take great offense at that. The Leprechaun, Old School Essentials Basic D&D softcover supplement, $6. It includes a Leprechaun class and advanced race. Finally, an enigmatic Leprechaun, a staple of folklore and fairy tales, fairy stories, is available for players to run. Okay. Lost Roads by Unicorn Meat. Or Lost Roads and Unicorn Meat by Exalted Funeral. Softcover supplements. Humans, once rich and with magic technology resources, exploited nature to collapse. Oh, there's a subliminal message, maybe. Barren and the twisted landscapes are the norm, with pockets of civilization connected by defunct reclaimed pathways. Lost Roads is a journey role-playing game set in an alternate fantasy world. PCs are tarnished characters traveling the lost roads to find a home. They wield the magic of nature, bear the scars of survival, carry the fire of shared humanity, and risk betrayal from those they have no choice but to trust. D6 die pool resolution system with varying degrees of success and failure, handles one-shots and short campaigns, and has 8 magical domains for up to 40 unique combinations. Unicorn Meat is a southern gothic horror adventure deep in the monster-haunted backwoods. Sunny Smiles Unicorn Farm lies in ruin. The overseers vanished months ago. Gangs of feral children lurk in the shadows of a vast blood-stained factory. Knife season has come. Food is running out. PCs find themselves in the decaying ruins of the last unicorn farm in the world. Interesting. Transformers. Core Rulebook Essence 20. It's out. There you go. Players create their own Autobot character. I would look forward to having Eric Salzweedl run this with full-fledged models next time and being able to transform them, please. Who's got Transformers? Anybody? It reminds me it's time for my bi-monthly Gaming and BS emphatic statement that Paizo's beginner boxes are the single greatest value in the hobby. Yeah? I don't have any, but I heard they're good. I had Transformers, Victor says. Let's see. Gran Mechanismo. So this I know by Osprey. This was brought up streams ago for sure. I remember this particular one. Just the Machiavellian Politics in Renaissance Italy. It's $35, hardcover. Yeah. The military commissioner of the Republic of Florence unleashes a technological revolution where primitive computers decorated with delicately painted cupids run on water clocks, spring-powered tanks whir across the battlefield, cannons thundering from their flanks, and gliders flit across perfectly blue Tuscan skies. Swashbuckling adventure in Renaissance Italy. Da-da-da-da-da. There you go. So those are the new print products. Then there is the crowdfunding. Nevermore. Could have swore we've gone over this like 3 times with them, maybe. I don't know. They got 5 days to go as of this recording by Nepenthe Games. They've got a quick start. Check it out. Funded. It's an original system, so it's not 5th edition. Kind of an anomaly sometimes. 3 Curses for Sister Saren. All new adventure module for 5e. Funded. And evil creatures pour into the Valley of Crow's Rest. You're searching for a cleric's tomb. Within, you hope to find the power to save the people of the town and valley. Designed for for levels 1 to 3. This is a weird sword and sorcery style hex crawl. It's an adventure module by Planet X Games and Levi Combs. If you like Levi, he was at Game Holcon. Quintessential Fighter. Ugh, that cover just makes me itch. From Battlefield Press. 5th edition, $35. I'm going to ramp up your 5e fighter. Campaign offers an update on the Mongoose Publishing source book from the D20 era, but redesigned for 5th edition. Funded. Low goal. $660. They're at almost 1,000. There you go. PDF and POD. Apocalypse from IGC. System neutral. $20 for the PDF version of the book, as well as VTT files. Apocalypse campaigns are a common type RPG scenario, but they can be difficult stories for the GM to craft every aspect of the setting and adventures. The book offers system neutral advice for how to improve story encounters and tales set at the end of the world. You know, I kind of get the understanding of the apocalypse genre, but I have to admit, if I were to run it, I'd okay, you need to find more stuff. Maybe it's watch The Walking Dead, and there's some inspiration there for sure. But other things like this might come in handy. I see. Funded, which is cool. Just over $20 over their funding goal as of it right now. 1 if by land, 2 if by sea, 3 if by air, homebrew and hacking, Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition, and Level Up Advanced 5th edition, which is the EN World Publishing version. It's funded. There you go. Do you need vehicles for your D&D 5e campaigns? Air, land, water, magical, and original. This book offers the rules you need to soar to new heights, dive to new depths, go further and faster than anyone before. Man, there you go. Nightmare Fuel from Gaming Ballistic. 3 bestiary volumes for the Dungeon Fantasy RPG. Legendary snakes, terrible insects, deadly plants. This is for the Dungeon Fantasy RPG. Man, most popular pledge is $125. This is the Steve Jackson games from Uncle Steve. Serpents of Legend, 40 pages. Bestiary at 36. Garden of Evil at 20 pages. Each creature is described with a background, abilities, and stats if you want more monsters for your dungeon fantasy game. Grimoire of the Grave, 5e compatible from 2C Gaming. $55. Plus shipping and handling in the PDF. Funded. Lots of funded ones. Book of Undead Monsters for 5e. It has a list of creatures, ecologies, options, and guidance. Look at this, man. I want to meet the person that buys everything 5e. If it's 5e, you buy it. Whoa, what a library that would be, huh? Lexicon 2023 tabletop board gaming and RPG friendly convention. So Lexicon is kickstarting their con. So $40 for a 3-day pass. It's one way to get some funding ahead of time to pay for your stuff. Get interest. It's basically advanced pre-ticketing, I guess. So they're funded. They're going to have their con. $50 over their funding goal. It is in Lexington, Kentucky. Ew. So check it out if you're in the area. Terrible Treasures, Frightful Fables for 5e from EN Publishing. Guess what? Funded. I think this one might actually be over. Yeah, this one's over. So you have to wait until it's released to the public to grab your own copy. It's a holiday specific and will deliver its treats before Halloween. If you want spooky masks and magic and adventures all done with EN Publishing's normal high standards, there you go. And she's calling me to let me know that the animals need to go out. Hold one. Yeah, that easy. All right. And that's it for crowdfunding. And that's, I think, pretty much all that I have for this weekend. However, there's one announcement I almost forgot. So BSRCon is happening. Woot, woot. So if you're not on our Discord and you're not on our mailing list, you might not even know if you're not following us on Twitter either. So BSRCon we held this past January. It was a success. We held it. It's an online only virtual convention, and for the gaming community of BSers, fans of the Gaming and BS podcast that I had been involved with for 7 years with my co-host Brett. So, from popular demand, per popular demand, as requested. They're going to do it in 2023. So January 19th to the 22nd. I should probably know those. BSRCon. Electric Boogaloo. BSRCon 2. So Friday, January 20th through Sunday, January 22nd. Badge prices are going to be $10 for 1 day, 1 hour, or the whole weekend. It's all inclusive. No additional costs per event or anything like that. I'm going to donate probably at least half the proceeds to the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, a charity dear to my heart. It's good fun. I took some feedback from last year, which was not, too bad and made sense for a few things, but I think it'll be a lot smoother. And so it'll be running through badge registration, I should say. Badge registration opens November 1st at noon Central Time. Don't know if I have my UTC GMT time converted correctly. I don't know if it's -5 or -6. Daylight savings time should not affect that, but it changes in a week. So November 1st, which is only a few days away, make sure you go on there. You need to buy a badge first before you can submit any events. So, hey, I can't submit an event, Sean. What's up? It's probably because you don't have your badge purchased. So I'll be opening up badge registration and event submission November 1st at noon Central Time. And then we're going to have event registration for some advanced folks. So patrons of the show are going to get dibs on some of the events first. And then we'll open it up to general event registration after that. And there's some dates on this page. So check that out. I'm going to leave event submission open all the way up until like the Friday of the con. So you got an event, the sooner the better, because then you'll be sure to get people to sign up for that. You will only be able to sign up for one event at any given slot. So in other words, if you have 2 events and they overlap, you will only be able to sign up for one because it'll tell you have a conflict. I think last year was an oversight on my part where you could grab as many events as you want at the same time, which created a kerfuffle with things. So they are 1 hour slots, and some people were like, can you do like blocks, like 8 to noon, 1 to 5, 6 to 10? And the answer is no. And frankly, if we've got people that are in different time zones and in different parts of the world, we had, Nubis is over in Slovakia. I mean, he was running games, and there were people in our Eastern time zone in Puerto Rico and Central zone playing in those games, which like 6 hours difference. So it's just the way it's going to be. So yeah, people were like, I don't know, my only complaint is that a lot of games overlapped. So when I would play a game, I couldn't play in another one. And well, it's kind of the breaks. So there's not much I can do about that other than always schedule. When you submit, you have 2 times you could put in there. And I can always think in my brain, like, well, I'll just always try to get ones prioritize a time. But due to the time zones, it doesn't really make sense to do that. So it allows people some flexibility. Good morning, Eileen. Coming in near the end. I'm wrapping up because I have to go and move my wife's car and take out the dogs and all that kind of good stuff. But yeah, BSRCon is going to be good fun. Don't be afraid to talk about a seminar. Ray Otis was really nice last year, as well as Goblin's Henchman. Ray did a talk on swords and sorcery versus what high fantasy is, and then some references. Good talk. And then Goblin's Henchman also spoke about hex flowers and what he did. And then our very own Jim, the moderator, talked about artistry, how he kind of some drawing techniques and things of that nature. So see ya, Orcus Dorcas. But it'll be fun. A lot of folks know each other, and it's a good positive force in the RPG hobby. A lot of good representatives of those. I'm not sure if I'm going to list the convention publicly, which means in the tabletop events public directory. I'm on the fence. Sometimes you get folks that join, and that's fine. They just want to play online, but it's a community con. Kind of on the fence. I'm interested in your feedback and what your thoughts are. We want good people to join the community. That's one way to do it, but it's kind of a crapshoot on who may join. So, which could be for anything. But I think I got my proverbial stuff together this year on dates and when it can happen. And we'll have a paint room dedicated to just dropping in, dropping out. Paint room you can reserve time, sign up for, and you can sign up for other events. That'd be something you can overlap with. So just as an FYI. Because it's really not that big a deal. Paint room's a drop in, drop out. So it'll be fun. I plan on running. I think last year I ran one game and I kind of laid in the weeds most of the weekend in case anybody needed some help. This year I might be a little bit more involved in playing and running games. So it's going to be fun. When you submit your event, you're going to have to, list your VTT of choice, what you're using for video and audio. It doesn't have to be our Discord, but they will be available if you want to. And then, of course, we'll have a mustering channel so people can muster their event and go somewhere else. So it's kind of a central place that people could drop questions and things of that nature. Could you decide to open it up to tabletop close to the actual date, say January? I think I could. So I guess I can. I don't think there's a date limit, Wayne. So if we don't have enough players, I could list it in the public directory maybe later. That's not a bad idea. So thanks for the advice. We'll see. But it'll be fun. I'm looking forward to it. We had a social gathering. We had, 10 to 20 people in one lounge on video, just kind of talking to each other and talking about gaming and stuff and some of the events that they ran. And so it was good. I think a lot of people got to know each other a little bit better. And then I think some, from there, some came to Gamehole Con. So it'll be good fun. I look forward to seeing some of you there, I hope. And if you haven't played with BSers and want to put a face with a name, this is a great opportunity to do that. So, yeah, I think that's all. That's it. I mean, I want to thank these folks for supporting all my efforts over the months and weeks. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. I really do appreciate it. Otherwise, be a positive tabletop, be a positive force in the tabletop RPG hobby. That's what I say. All right. Otherwise, go play some games, take it easy, and we'll catch you next week. See ya.